All right, so we got a live show going right now. I'm gonna do a little clip here. And guess what? TYT, yeah. Fucking love TYT. Switch screens right there. Now, before we get started, please do not forget to share, support, and hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery, to helping another GoFundMe, which is helping victims of Africom, helping out two of our fellow content creators, Stevie, aka Redneck Economics, aka Fred from Angel, also Sleepy J. Buy him a freaking coffee. It's not for coffee, it's for helping another content creator out. Because you never know what they're going through in life, right? So even if, you feel like there's something else that you want to put your money towards, okay, but you can share this for sure. Copy, paste it on your favorite social media account and fucking share it. Also, we have one more. It's helping out an Australian kid who had terrible fucking medical circumstances with cancer, and it's spreading to different parts of his body, and people want to look out for him to make sure he has like a full life and shit like that, right? It's beyond survival. It's for the sake of living. And his name's Cohen Daly. And you can find that link also in the description box. Check out all the links. Pick one you want to donate to, or share all of them. That costs no money to do that. Thank you. All right. So, yesterday, my boy Franco went to DC, went to like the Capitol type area, because they were having this, I guess, celebration about the putting a pause on evictions for apparently 90 days. Now, these guys say 90 days. Anna actually says 60 days. Maybe she got that wrong, or maybe they got it wrong. Either way, it's like, with the whole pandemic thing and people losing jobs, people losing money, can't pay your rent, it seems like that should be extended beyond 2 or 3 months. I would think, just logically, dumb guy logic. Now, the question for the YouTube content creators, and what they usually bicker about, is, are these politicians that they've put in the spotlight, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? In this particular case, it's going to be the Cori Bushes and the AOCs, right? And I'd say Franco believes like, oh, they could be doing way more. Anna's going to say, shut up, Franco, and take the small victory. They couldn't do anything else. Just take the small victory. And here's Anna explaining to Franco, to Max Blumenthal, to others, to shut up and just enjoy the victory. Yes, literally, like flowers and music playing celebrations. Here we go.
Progressive Democrat Cori Bush fought hard and actually succeeded in getting the eviction moratorium extended. That eviction moratorium, of course, was expired on July 31st. The Biden White House argued that there was nothing they could do. They can't unilaterally extend the eviction moratorium. I mean, what could they do? Their hands are tied. Brett Kavanaugh, Supreme Court Justice, said that he thinks that it might be unconstitutional. I mean, he didn't actually pass down a ruling on it, but that threat from Kavanaugh was enough for the Biden administration to pretend as though they didn't have the unilateral power during a global pandemic to extend the eviction moratorium. Well, thanks to Cori Bush, who camped out on the Capitol steps for 4 nights straight, Biden administration decided to change their tune, and they moved forward with extending the eviction moratorium for 2 months, 60 days to be exact. The new eviction moratorium will cover 90% of Americans. So this is a big deal. What Cori Bush did was incredibly important in ensuring that people will be able to stay in their homes for the next 2 months, as the $46 billion in congressionally appropriated rental relief is given out by state governors.
Now, here's the thing with clearly how Anna talks and clearly how Cenk Uygur talk. You can almost hear them emphasize certain words in order to, it seems like it's trying to like mind melt the audience into saying, this is good for 90%. for 60 days. I mean, when you have to sell it, I mean, shouldn't it stand on its own legs? That's just me, though. Let's continue.
The Biden administration, again, has issued a new 2-month moratorium on evictions covering much of the country after facing intense pressure from progressive lawmakers led by Congressmember Cori Bush.
Progressive. You think I'm joking? Add the speed up. The speed is turned up, but trust me, there's an emphasis on particular words.
Now, the Biden administration, again, has issued a new 2-month moratorium on evictions covering much of the country after facing intense pressure from progressive lawmakers led by Congressmember Cori Bush. On Friday night, Democratic Congressmember Cori Bush, who was once unhoused herself, began camping out on the steps of the Capitol in protest. She stayed on the steps till Tuesday's announcement. So 4 nights straight. She's there, she's putting in the work. That inspired others to join her. People like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez showed up to, of course, motivate and give props to not just Cori Bush, but the other protesters who were there. Other members of Congress also showed up. So this was an example of political theater working. Because politics is, yes, about legislating. So
it is political theater. Okay.
Of political theater working. Because politics is, yes, about legislating. It's about legislative maneuvering. There's no question about it. But political theater plays a role as well. The question is the political theater strategic? And who is impacted the most by the political theater? In this.
Okay. So if I'm going to argue with Anna, I'm going to point that out and hold her to that. Political theater is very important in regards to getting things done. Now, that would beg the question, what political theater are they not doing for other things that are happening? Not just other things happening, but the people around them. How come they're not using political theater there? I'll wait for an answer. What's up, Anthony? Let's keep going.
In this case, it's incredibly embarrassing for the Biden administration to have members of his own party calling him out and demanding more on the steps of the US Capitol. He wanted it to end. He wanted it to end as soon as humanly possible. And so that's.
Or call me conspiracy theorist, but maybe this thing was already going to pass and it's just political theater to capture some form of legitimacy. I mean, it's not like there's not like war criminals around them that they're not saying anything about. Like, there's so many different issues to look at this particular issue, hear someone complain about it, and then make a dedicated segment to it. I think it's the first segment of her live show today. Interesting. I guess it's the first segment of mine. Whatever. Here we go.
That's why he extended this moratorium. Now, I give you that context because it's important to understand just what Cori Bush did, but more importantly, how egregious it is that throughout her time sleeping out on the Capitol steps, she was being endlessly harassed by the same people who refused to let go of the force the vote nonsense from literally 8 months ago. A political tactic that is now completely irrelevant. The political tactic was supposed to be this pressure among progressive lawmakers to hold their vote, refuse to vote in favor of Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House until she promises to bring Medicare for all to a House vote, to a House floor vote, I should say. Now, the squad, progressive Democrats, decided that they didn't want to use their political capital on that because of a number of different reasons. They were using their political capital for committee seats. They were using their political capital for carve-outs when it comes to pay-go. And they also knew that using their political capital for a floor vote that was going to fail, meaning that they would not get Medicare for all, just wasn't worth it. And
I thought the point of the force of vote thing, it wasn't to get Medicare for all passed. It was to use your political theater skills to show, okay, these fuckers are not going to work with us. Like, just so people recognize that, right? Because you hear the talking point from the progressives that, hey, 60% of Americans agree with Medicare for all or some type of single payer system. So let's show them who is not in favor of that. And if it ends up being this overwhelming majority of the Congress not in favor of it, it's like, oh, fuck, we're voting for the wrong people. I thought that was part of the concept of it, right? To sort of pull down the mask of of who's trying their best to represent their people and who's not. That's what I thought the point was. You know, Anna's an honest person, so I'm going to take her word for it that it was strictly just to get Medicare for all passed.
To fail, meaning that they would not get Medicare for all, just wasn't worth it. And ever since they made that decision, they have been hounded and harassed by people who in different contexts didn't really seem to care too much about Medicare for all. People like Jimmy Dore, for instance, who supported Tulsi Gabbard in the last Democratic primary in 2020. Tulsi Gabbard wasn't in favor of Medicare for all, but he was totally fine with that. Now he's pretending.
I think she was. I think. Deep down. I know she was like, oh, she's doing the Australian version of blah, 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 blah. But once again, these are humans. It's not actually, like, they're not locked into whatever political things that we place upon them, right? It's people being people. So there's a good chance, this is what I truly believe, is that Tulsi Gabbard did, or at least, heard she would actually favor Medicare for all, but doesn't want to just be Bernie Sanders or step in front of Bernie Sanders or step on Bernie Sanders, or she wants to separate herself as a candidate. I considered that as a possibility, and that's worth taking note of, I think. Also, if it's still some form of single payer, like, why do you need to be in favor of the Bernie Sanders trademark term that he apparently doesn't even care about anymore? All right, here we go.
Ending like Medicare for all is the only policy that matters. So much so that it warrants constant harassment toward AOC and other members of the squad. So I bring you this next video, which features part of this group, Max Blumenthal, who is part of Grayzone, but is in cahoots with the whole Force the Vote movement, essentially harassing Cory Bush. He put out a short video of his interaction with her. Here's how it went.
I heard there was an intense debate about the role of the squad and why the squad didn't leverage its vote for the speaker for Medicare for all vote, and why the squad, I mean, with a margin so narrow in Congress, why the squad didn't
yes, because
leverage its vote on the stimulus to get a $15 minimum wage.
So she started answering the question, and at some point, one of her staffers or someone who knows her got involved and kind of whisked her away. And that led to all this backlash among some components of the so.
Is that okay? That these guys don't answer questions, no matter what the reason of the question, like whether he's a bad faith actor or just an honest person with a question, they don't answer the question? What's your point being there then? Once again, they're human beings, right? So I don't want to hear she's locked into only Missouri's fucking people or something, or whatever state she's from. You can only listen to them. Everyone else is not her constituents, so blah, 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 blah. Like, nah, these are people. And what do you think righteous people should do in scenarios like that? Should they allow their handlers to whisk them away? Or should they answer the fucking question? The whole point is, like, I want to make sure you understand where I'm coming from. Point blank period. So that you know whether to vote for me or not vote for me. Or support me or not support me. I need you to know more about me so you can make a real decision. But, here we go.
So-called left on Twitter, oh my God, she doesn't serve the best interest. She's there in an effort to prevent people from getting evicted from their homes. How about focus on the topic at hand instead of focusing on a failed nonsense strategy from literally 8 months ago?
Now, I'm sorry, I thought the point was to do good in the world, meaning there is no limit, time limit, topic limit on any of this. Hey, Joe Biden's holding the door for an old lady. We can't ask him questions right now. He's doing good right now, so we have to let it happen and not question about other things, like, maybe rape someone or something. Let that go for now, because he's doing this. That's your logic, Anna. That's your logic, bro. You will never ever respond to me, never ever talk to me. I'm very sure of that because I won't bullshit. I won't play Jimmy Dore bullshit games of I'm the guy bullshit or, you know, you're against me, that's why you're bad type shit. I'm sorry, it's just I'm leaving you no wiggle room, which is why you'll never ever talk to me probably. Actually, I'd have to leap over their heads as far as followers and whatnot. It's probably not going to happen. All right, here we go.
And the reason why I say it's a nonsense strategy is because it's irrelevant now. It's irrelevant now. Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House. You guys pushed for something, they didn't do it. So are we just gonna focus on that for the rest of these women's political careers? Or are we gonna give them props for what they're trying to accomplish right now on an imminent issue? People.
No props. No props should be needed. No props should be given. The work continues. There is no kudos. If no one was watching, she should be doing that anyways. Cori Bush, that is. Or whoever. AOC or whoever. They should be already trying to make the world better, regardless of who's watching them or not. That's why there is no kudos for any of this shit. Like, okay, is there any more problems? Oh, there is? Okay, let's go focus on that now. Or, hey, maybe this thing's not complete, so we need to keep working. I know they say that in words. I heard the Cori Bush speech. But it's like, doesn't it sound like when I hear, hey, let's party. Hey, thanks for the flowers. I'm fucking crying at what we accomplished. You're telling me, is that a... Come on, bro. Like, are you LeBron winning a title for Cleveland? If not, I don't want to hear this shit. Keep it moving. I tell everybody this, just so you know. All right, here we go.
People getting kicked out of their homes in the middle of a pandemic.
Shit.
Are we going to focus on that at all? And what's fascinating is when that short video was released, everyone was like, oh, look at that. She's so dismissive. But you know, Grayzone isn't known for providing a lot of context in their video content. I know from firsthand experience with them. They love to take things out of context. They love to cherry pick little snippets of videos that they've produced.
Didn't you just do that? Am I tripping? Didn't they just do that? Whatever.
They love intimidating people who dare to speak out against them like I'm doing right now. But guess what? You're not going to shut me up. Now, there was someone who was also involved in this effort with Cori Bush. She was there the whole time. Kristen Mink tweeted about the interaction after there was all this backlash toward Cori Bush and how she handled that question from Max Blumenthal. She says, no, I was there and this framing is completely wrong and disingenuous. Friday night, there was a guy who ID'd himself as from the People's Party. Ilhan, meaning Ilhan Omar, chatted with him for a long while and went to follow him on Twitter. There, she found offensive memes about the squad. So this is...
So what? You're offensive. Welcome to Earth? The fuck? Are you new here? Didn't they do a whole fucking scandal about, or whatever, whole story about you, whatever, marrying your brother or something just to get citizenship? You're telling me you can't handle this shit? Come on, bro. Like, get at it, like, leave. Quit your jobs. Here we go.
This is a quote tweet from Max Blumenthal's tweet where, you know, he claims that, well, you can read the tweet for yourself. An intense argument broke out last night at the Capitol between an activist and members of the squad on their refusal to directly confront Pelosi. And then he says that he asked Cori Bush about it. Okay. Kristen Mink continues to...
Why aren't you going to talk about that point, Anna? That's an important thing. In fact, that's the only thing I've ever called for in regards to these. Well, not the only thing, but that's the main thing I've called for in regards to these guys. Like, hey, are the people you're going to work with, are any of them like suspect characters? Okay, why aren't you telling us about it? How come some random person on the internet knows about it, but you say nothing about it? You work next to these guys. Do you call them out privately? Either way, like, public should know that. Clearly you don't say anything fucking publicly. I mean, straight up, like, genociding nation people are around you, and you say fucking nothing about them? Are you sleeper cells that are going to secretly change things from the inside but not telling anyone about the horrible things these other people do? Don't you have massive followings? It's like you could do all this and then they can't give you attention after that, right? Because of how bad it may, like, quote-unquote mainstream media working on behalf of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or whatever, or the establishment. Like, if they cover those stories, they'd have to go through it piece by piece and then point out, are they correct or not? Either that or lie, and then the lie looks so obvious because it's so easily countered with actual information that they're fucked. And if they go to smear you, there's more eyes on you. There's more political theater for you. So it makes absolutely no sense as to why these guys, if we take the idea that these are good guy progressives trying to change the world or something, trying to change the system, whatever the fuck. That's why I hate system arguments. But I'm just saying, I hate that shit. But clearly, if they, why people would get confused, right? Like, hey, who are you fighting for? And if they have that question of who are you fighting for, I expect someone to ask a question about it. Like Franco did. I expect someone to ask a fucking question about it. And to automatically play defense for people you don't know, maybe she does know them, who knows, is a little weird. In fact, it puts you on the fucking table. Which is what happens to you. Which is what happened to you. Which is why people look at you as a bad character. But you might already know this. Here we go. Like you're preaching to the choir at this point, right? Like as I'm watching a live stream, it's like, okay, half these people hate you. The other half are just playing defense for you. Either way, it's still small in numbers for a 5.13 million subscriber channel. Like those very, very low numbers for a channel this size. They're in Rogan territory, right? Subscribers? When Rogan was still making videos on YouTube, they're pretty close to him. Crowder? So it's like that Nancy Pelosi question. Like, what are you doing this for then? Like, Nancy, you're fucking near the end of your life and you're filthy rich already. Why are you still doing creepy shit? Like, TYT, this isn't helping your brand or your channel or anything like that. And you're still doing this shit. What's your fucking point here? Here we go.
Right. The conversational pattern. Guy lobs accusatory question, why won't you or didn't you do X, Y, or Z?
Subtender.
Members respond with detailed info. Guy lobs same accusatory question as if nothing was said. It was ridiculous and distracted from the urgent issue we were there for, housing. Now, I'm not sure if she's specifically referring to Nick Brana in the first tweet in this thread, or if she's talking about Max Blumenthal. She quote tweeted Max Blumenthal, who goes along with the same narratives that Nick Brana, the head of the Movement for a People's Party, has. But what's fascinating is if you look at other videos of the several days that this protest was taking place on the Capitol steps, you'll see Max Blumenthal harassing people, causing trouble, and making it all about him instead of the people who were facing eviction during a global pandemic. Let's watch.
Once again, the whole context that is absolutely left out, because I guess she'd rather, it's kind of like what Jimmy Dore does, right? I'd rather make these guys look bad than to actually give a holistic answer about a particular topic, right? The context she's leaving out is, well, if you guys let this shit slide, or you guys fuck up on this bill, or you seem shady on this or that, why should we trust you when you say, yeah, we did it? All right, we can go home now. Why would you be trusted at that point? Not speaking up for Blumenthal or Nick Brana. I don't know those fucking guys. But at the same time, it's like, why should Cori Bush be automatically trusted? There's too much history and context of what politicians have done, right? Barack Obama, fucking community organizer. Work with the poor, man. Come on, give him his kudos. Give him a fucking round of applause, please. And then he's bombing Somalia the next week. Right? So there's too much history to just be like, yeah, good job. Don't leave him alone on this topic. You don't even know if this topic's solidified or legitimate or anything. You don't know if this is just a scheme to get to another scheme. You don't know this. Anna knows the context. She's bullshitting you, in my opinion. Right? It wouldn't make sense unless she has fucking Alzheimer's and forgot everything that's happened in the past in regards to politicians, and not only politicians, but these guys in particular too. AOC's flip-flopping on something. Right? They give it a mealy mouth coverage of it because they have to maintain some sort of credibility. The logic is not on her at all. Like, not even a little bit. Here we go.
Him instead of the people who were facing eviction during a global pandemic. Let's watch.
Look at you. You work for Congress. You work for the most violent institution on earth.
You defend the Chinese genocide.
You defend the State Department. You defend the most violent institution on the planet.
There's no genocide.
Yeah.
It's true. Shh. Like, come on, guys. If you're gonna do snippets and shit, make it to where you look good and he looks bad. All he did was make him yeah, I agree with that. Sorry. I believe that to be a truth. Sorry. I don't know if they're the most violent or anything, right? You have guys on the street with similar psyches to these guys. Power. But at the same time, don't we have evidence that these people in government that they're all surrounded by do horrible things around the world, both in present time and past? Like, come on now. And if you're telling me AOC or Cori Bush or Ilhan Omar don't know that, then they're too incompetent for the fucking job and they should get the fuck out. Get out and start fucking watching documentaries, then come back. And even then, it's like, we got someone better already, so you chill out. Take a powder. There we go. Who are my allies? My allies are people that mean well. But there's those moments where we're not meaning well in particular expressions. Has Jimmy ever done that? Has Jimmy ever put meaning well on the back door, or was it back burner, in order to do something? Maybe, who knows for what? But all right, here we go.
Max Blumenthal's wife and child in the background. She's like urging him to stop because it's so incredibly embarrassing. And you know, he talks about Congress being the most violent organization. I mean, Max Blumenthal is the son of Sid Blumenthal, a longtime Hillary Clinton advisor and aide, including when Hillary Clinton was in the US Senate. So I don't know, maybe Max Blumenthal has firsthand experience with just how violent Congress really is. But I do find it questionable that he has now dedicated all of his time to harassing progressive members of Congress, the very people who are literally on our side on the very issues that we care most about, while ignoring the depravity, the cruelty, the viciousness of the Republican Party. I mean, you want to focus on corporate Democrats. You want to hold them accountable. Awesome. I just find it super strange that people like Max Blumenthal, Jimmy Dore are hyper-focused on incessantly harassing progressive members of Congress. And of course,
you can't just, she's doing the jank thing of just calling someone progressive. Like, they're progressive. Like, as like, that means moral apparently to these guys, the way they sell that word. Right? The way they sell it. But I think here's why they've gathered. I think they've gathered an audience, and in fact, a lot of your audience, is because people, I think, when they see someone who claims to be good, right, and they're projecting the image of good, but like, oh, you're doing some shady shit, aren't you? And they get away with it. People are gonna be yelling louder at those guys, I would think. Doesn't mean I'm not going to turn and look at them. But hey, how come you're not doing like a full coverage of everything? Why are you particularly focusing on these guys? But something tells me, like, Anna, you probably shouldn't be saying that. Like your character, forgive me, but people and me definitely think your character's in question for you to even be saying some shit like that. Why are you so focused on these guys? Yeah. I would want them to do more, like, even if you're going to focus on the quote-unquote progressives, like, do a holistic fucking take on it. Rather than, they suck, they're terrible, they're bootlickers, they're Nancy Pelosi's children in disguise. Of course I want to hear more than that. But at the same time, you can understand why people would focus on them, right? Because they're claiming to be good, and someone's like, wait a minute, you get to expose these guys that are not actually good, right? People already understand that Biden sucks. So talk about people who actually have a real clout of goodness behind them. People actually look at them as like angelic in a way. You know, fanboying and fangirling, call it. All right, here we go.
Nick Braun as well, who again is the head for the Movement for People's Party, that third party venture, which I'll get back to in just a second. Now, with that said, there were unfortunately others who have taken part in harassing Cori Bush and other progressive lawmakers.
I already alienate them just by asking
to ensure
questions.
that people don't get kicked out of their homes. Here's another example.
Everyone keeps asking, what should we do now? We're going to keep here. We're going to stay here until the rest of the work gets done.
We're not buying the theatrics. We're not buying the theatrics.
Oh, wait, you're just one person?
No, I'm not one person, my man, right there. We have 137 people watching.
137
yes.
people. Damn.
They were just working really hard.
This is Franco's footage, by the way. And this is what happens when people don't have arguments for why they're doing things. There's like, well, just do it. Oh, it's just funny to me. And they do, like, the typical bounce around is usually an appeal to authority. Well, how many people are following you, huh? It's like, that's a weak fucking argument. Like, pretend I have millions of followers. You're claiming I'm doing something wrong. Pretend I have millions of followers, and you need to take me down a notch because I might influence a million fucking people. You don't want that to happen since you consider me wrong. We'll argue how I'm wrong. That's usually when they just run away. Like, they live life like they're on Twitter accounts and shit. I'll run away now. Bye.
People watching.
137
yes.
people.
What's up, Brian?
They were just working really hard.
What do you mean, what was I doing? Informing people. You think I shouldn't inform people?
Yelling is an
How am I trolling?
Because you're asking irrelevant questions.
How is it irrelevant that they're using money? How is it irrelevant that they're using money for wars when they could be giving money to the homeless? They voted to increase the budget for Israel.
No, they voted against it.
How
You
much?
don't even know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking
One week of
about.
research before you go out.
They increased the budget for Israel in apartheid state. They increased the budget for an apartheid state.
No idea what you're talking about.
I know more than you. I know more than you.
It's not a contest. Go home and
It's not a contest.
then do your YouTube channel at home. You didn't do any research.
And of course they
See what happens when you leave room. Now, apparently Frank was incorrect about that. About them voting for giving money to Israel or whatever. Like, you better come with some, like, straight up information. You're going to have guys like that who are instant shields. Instant shields, right? Just before you said the Israel thing, that guy was already like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm like, wait, so these fucking guys are like perfect or some shit? You're telling me as an individual with just a camera like that, I have this much clout or this much influence just because I yell something out like, you're getting in the way of the movement. Me? Really? Shit. Let's just run for president then. If I could just topple this whole thing just by me saying something. Holy fuck. Why do I need you guys? Let's go right to the presidency. Have all that fucking clout. But really, it's to stop a snowball effect of people maybe start asking questions, right? So yeah, Franco, you gotta do better, bro. You gotta do better than that. If you're gonna do the information thing, come with the fucking information. That's gotta be on point. You go my route, which is just doing some form of epistemology of like, yeah, but if I say this, if this, and this is happening, how does this make sense? Then you turn it onto them like, yo, if this, and this is happening, meaning, okay, there's these people here, there's these policies they voted for, there's this, there's all these circumstantial things right there, out there on the surface, as like, hey, wait a minute, would a good person actually do this? Would a good person sit back on the side while their quote-unquote leader or colleagues or president do creepy shit around the world, and a good person sits by and does nothing about it? They don't even use their fucking platform to showcase how bad this shit is? Like, you should already have a problem. That deserves someone out there yelling at them for it. 100%. And you can turn that on to the red-haired guy. But hey, why is your instant reflex to fucking protect them? And in fact, if you watch more of that video, you're like, who'd you work for, huh? Have you ever worked for this organization? Like, first of all, there's more topics, there's more of this, there's more of that. There's more people that stand up for housing and all that shit, organizations. There's also just individuals that think like, hey, I don't like this happening, so I'm going to stand up against it. Right? Constant appeals to authority. Where's your followers at? Right? Wasn't that like our early day YouTube? You make an argument, hey, you don't have this many followers. And then weeks later, someone else says the same thing. Like, how come you don't have this many followers? And then next week, someone else says something else, saying like very similar. It's like, those are not arguments, bro. Don't even start with, hey, man, why are you pissed off? It's sad, man. Here we go.
Did no research. Going after progressive lawmakers like Cori Bush for voting for more war? There's no evidence of that. You look at Cori Bush's record, and it's the opposite of what that clown boy was alleging in that video.
Suck my duck.
And I also find it fascinating that they're accusing Cori Bush of doing nothing, essentially. It's just political theater, when in reality, the whole force the vote.
You called it political theater already. Called it effective political theater. They're calling it ineffective political theater. That makes sense? That face says it all, by the way.
Nothing, essentially. It's just political theater, when in reality, the whole force the vote movement was about political theater. I mean, that was part of the argument. No, we know that it's not going to pass. We know that they'll hold the we know they'll hold the floor vote. We know that they won't pass it. But it's important to A, understand which Democratic lawmakers are not in favor of Medicare for all, which is something we already know. But B, once they vote it down, we'll cause a spectacle. We'll cause a spectacle, everyone, because left-wing media is so.
Wait, we already know who will and won't vote for Medicare for all? Are they telling you that? Are these the quote-unquote squad, Bernie Sanders, whoever the fuck, are they telling you that? Are they naming names? Are they using their political clout in one of the, what was it, a grassroots fucking campaign that generated like record-breaking months in donations? Bernie Sanders campaign, that means that's a shit ton of people, right? If it's non-corporate backed, it's individual donations. That means they're not each giving $1 million. It's like, oh, $5 here, $20 here, maybe $50 there, maybe 200 every so often. Right? Small dollar donations. That would require a shit ton of people to break some sort of fucking campaign record. How come he's not using his fucking clout for anything? AOC, I could probably look it up. She's probably in the 11, 12 million followers on Twitter. How come she's not using that? And it just called political theater. Like, it has its place. Like, it can work. It can actually drive towards policy. They use political theater, which is we're going to go protest on the steps and sleep here till we get it done. And then it led to it passing. Right? It's moratorium thingy. So it's like, oh, what are they ignoring as a topic? And how come they're not willing to hear people out that might be telling them what they're ignoring? I can't even answer questions about it. Holy shit. It's not some guy with a fucking gun standing there like, answer the fucking question. No, it's just someone asking a question, so it can't be, like, it's not a danger to your health or body or anything. So what is it a danger to? You're afraid of looking dumb on camera and hurting your political... Well, we need to do bullshit strategies to stay in office. But, you know, that means we can't do anything when we are in office because then it'll fuck up the strategy later to stay in office. And it ends up being you're staying in office for the sake of staying in office. That's just me dumbing it down on surface level shit, right? I'm sure everyone can think of something a lot more creepy as to why they do what they do. But on the surface, if I take their characters for what it is, even that doesn't make fucking sense. Once again, Franco, you cannot give these people room. Give them room. It gives her a rant. Here we go.
So powerful that will cause a spectacle over a failed Medicare for All floor vote.
What's up, Mariana?
And then we'll somehow magically get our way. So that would have been theater that would have failed. But the theater that Cori Bush engaged in worked because it was strategic and it was smart. What she did.
Imagine being able to get away with that. How did it work? It was strategic and smart. Like what? No, that didn't answer the question. Well, I'm smart, so I'm walking away. Imagine being able to, like, you just say words and it works. Words! Just walk away. Come on, bro.
Materially benefited people's lives. Yes, we need more. There's no question about that. But buying people time, giving states 2 months to ensure that they pass out the $46 billion in rental relief so people are able to stay in their homes indefinitely, that's important.
Imagine if they did that with foreign, like, we get the whole fucking nation with their eyes on Joe Biden as he's already planning to fucking carpet bomb some fucking country. Like, oh fuck, maybe he'd freeze doing that for a second. Oh fuck, maybe I shouldn't do that. Everyone's watching me because these fucking assholes, these fucking pop stars are pointing it out. No shit. There is no excuse for not doing that. But Jordan, then that means they're going to run a corporate Democrat and they're going to give them all the money in the world and they're going to lose their next election. Then they'll be out of office. Like, So your plan is to just follow go along with their ideas and tacitly vote against certain things instead of like, hey voter, hey Americans, this is what's happening out in front of you, but you're not paying attention to it, so I need to go become a pop star and tell you about it. Oh my God. There's no logic to this. And defense of it is extra dumb here. Extra dumb. Here we go. What's up, Alice?
Incredibly important. It certainly goes a lot further
Those
in
are
improving
Alice
people's
arguments,
lives
bro.
than anything
Why are
that the
cheetahs
movement
good?
for the People's
Well,
Party
they're
has
smart.
been able to accomplish. It certainly improved people's lives far
You have to
further
show me why
than
it's smart.
anything that Jimmy Dore or Max Blumenthal has ever done in their careers. And they have the audacity to go, Jimmy Dore Party has been able to go a lot further in improving people's lives than anything that the movement for the People's Party has been able to accomplish. It certainly improved people's lives far further than anything that Jimmy Dore or Max Blumenthal has ever done in their careers.
I think Jimmy Dore is one of the biggest reasons why Squad is even in a position they're in. That's not kudos for that shit, right? Let's be real. Jimmy Dore is more of an appeal. Go look at your own numbers, Anna. Jimmy is more of an appeal than you are, and Cenk is, and TYT in general is. And then if he pulls Max Blumenthal in, that makes Max bigger than you guys. And Jimmy can actually get candidates, become fucking nationwide fucking, like, popular. For sure he could. Just saying.
And they have the audacity to go over there and harass people as they're fighting for something, as they're showing up and doing the work. I mean, it's just so pathetic and so shameful. But look, these little stunts, these PR stunts, tend to happen quite often. Superficial PR stunts, writes the Washington Babylon, are par for the course for.
Say that? Okay. There's no argument for this shit.
Tend to happen quite often. Superficial
You're
PR
stupid 'cause
stunts,
you're
writes the
stupid.
Washington Babylon, are par for the course for the MPP, Movement for the People's Party.
Washington
From the very
Babylon
beginning,
told me so.
Nick Brana misled members of Draft Bernie for People's Party and exploited their hopes that Sanders would lead a third party, even though the Vermont senator himself explicitly rejected that idea in a February 12, 2017 appearance on Meet the Press. So they lied to their own supporters about who's actually on board, which is a little problematic.
We can talk about leaving room, but that would require someone like MVP or whatever the fuck to be like not shady. And what I've heard from people, I don't know myself, but just saying, what I've heard from people, like, oh, these guys are considered shady. So there's a reason why there's room for Anna to rant about them. Well-meaning people that I would consider Franco to be, like, I look at it as a mistake when you leave room for Anna to rant about. These guys, like, if you're a shady organization, possibly, not saying it, like, I never talk with these people. They won't fucking talk to me. I haven't talked with people who left or anything like that. I've heard information that definitely looks shady. I've seen aesthetics, like fucking Nick Brana's fucking constant smile and kind of like backing away out of a question with backing away from questions with Franco, and comments from Jimmy Dore calling people who left as agitators. Like, yeah, that looks fucking shady. So, since it smells and looks shady, oh, there's a reason why there's room for those guys, why they leave room. Because they're doing shady shit to pounce on. Pause. Here we go. But when a guy like Franco leaves room, these guys are going to take your mistakes or your wiggle room and turn it into making you look shady. You're just doing this for clout chasing. You're doing this for YouTube clicks. You're doing this for... See? All right, here we go.
I would also find it problematic if I happen to be a member of Congress, a US state senator, and a third party is alleging that I support them when I might support them, but I'm certainly not joining them. I'm not leaving the Democratic Party to be part of a third party. Now, Bernie isn't the only person they did this to. To this day, MPP remains focused on loud, very often boneheaded actions intended to generate controversy and buzz. Force the vote, a fleeting tactic of dubious merit at the time to pressure progressive congressional representatives to force a floor vote on Medicare for All, was relevant for all of 2 weeks, but quickly became a brand.
There's someone just yelling, hey, why do you consider yourself a good person? Instead, it's, why didn't you support force the vote? And it's like, fuck, does that bother me? Oh, it's so weak sauce. It's super weak. Here we go.
Exercise for media.
Are you a
like Jimmy Dore
progressive, huh?
and Breonna Joy Gray. So let's get to Nina Turner's race, because they decided
I want to
mess
hear
around
why
with that as well.
they care to
Now, I
do
wanna be
something
clear,
good in
this
the
is an
world in the
important
first
caveat before I give you the
place.
details on the Nina Turner
Or even
angle.
if they're aware that that's
I do not
that's the
believe that
narrative
their
that
actions
they're setting.
here led to Nina Turner losing the Democratic primary in Ohio's 11th district. However, this is the exact type of attack I saw over and over again
Politics is the
by
way of the
corporate
world. I thought something
Democrats against
preceded
Nina
that.
Turner. And I always
Like
wondered,
your
where is this
humanity
coming from?
preceded
Well, let me give you the
politics.
details. Nina Turner had been embroiled in a closely watched congressional
smoked
race
you on this
of her
already.
own. In a recent national call, MPP head Nick Brana intimated that she intended to switch her party affiliation to the People's Party should she be elected. Oh, wow, did that actually happen? Was there any truth to that? No, there was no truth to that. But guess what? It was enough for bad faith actors to use it to attack Nina Turner. So K-Hive, an online coven of demented Kamala Harris cultists and center-right pro-Hillary zealots, some of whom have run bot networks in the past, seized on this for their own purposes and went on to promote the idea that Turner, quote, isn't even a real Democrat, end quote, and intends to switch parties. Awesome, so awesome. And of course, we can't forget what Jimmy Dore's wife said on their show, essentially discouraging people from voting for Nina Turner or even financially supporting her and her race.
Nina Turner is against.
Isn't it funny when the good guys and bad guys both do the same exact actions? They're using it. Anna's using a real political topic, just like Jimmy used a real political topic to make Anna does it to make Jimmy look bad. Jimmy does it to make Anna and TYT look bad. How do you tell which one's good, which one's bad? How do you tell? Well, you look at it materially, and you follow the material.
Force the vote. She gave a bad faith answer on Bad Faith Podcast.
Brilliant.
That's when I stopped my monthly donation, Jerry Mack. You know how I feel, Jerry. I'm right there with you. I'm not giving my money to somebody who's running in the Democratic Party. I'm not giving my money to somebody who runs in the Republican Party. I'm not giving them my money. Come get my vote. Come get my vote. And you know how you're going to get support? Universal health care. For my brothers and sisters in America, universal health care.
Well, that kind of commentary does tend to influence some people. So I'll direct you to an example.
What's up,
example.
Emblemed?
And this is from a super chat. Someone
Blue
who was
shirt
willing to
today,
pay
blue
50
shirt.
bucks,
Gray hat,
nearly
blue
50
shirt,
bucks, to share with Jimmy Dore's audience, quote, just got my $50 a month to Nina Turner refunded, and I'm giving it to the show. Thanks for keeping me sane in crazy times. Please, please stay safe and healthy through COVID. We need leaders like all of you in the future. Leaders. Leaders that serve as wrecking balls to any progress in this country, especially among the left. People who purport to be on the left, but somehow miraculously find themselves attacking the left and attempting to dismantle it bit by bit.
You're attacking the left. What does that mean? It says nothing about, like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, is that about, like, morale? Is that a moral decision to attack the left, or is it not? See the context they put it in? This is why politics seems so vapid to me. Even though subconscious, like, the appeal to the audience is actually morality. That's what they're doing with their audiences. When they say, oh, yeah, she's a progressive. They're saying, oh, she's a good person fighting for you. Righteously fighting for you, for the people. You say, oh, they're I don't know, Republican or something. But they're just rich white guys. That's it. They're just greedy. They just want to make more money. They don't care about you. Like, God, man, someone be real with their fucking audience one time. I'm curious of what that looks like. Here we go.
Kind of curious that they do that over and over again while completely ignoring the wrongdoings of the Republican Party. And by the way, assisting corporate Democrats in attacking progressive candidates like Nina Turner. At some point, you got to sit back and wonder, are these people really on our side? Are they really allies? And are they really genuine? Are they sincere in fighting for the same policies that they claim to be in favor of? Because it seems like they're not. And you know, I don't know what motivates them. Some people say they're grifters, some people say they're nihilists, some people think it's all about the views or the podcast downloads. I don't know. I don't know what motivates them. What I do know is that their behavior is incredibly cynical, it's destructive, it hasn't accomplished a goddamn thing, and it's embarrassing. And for far too long, I think good faith actors on the left have quietly sat back and allowed them to do what they do because they're afraid. They're afraid that because they're going to attack you. The bot army is going to come after you. I say,
oh, he saw I was
me.
watching TYT. He's like,
because I'm sick of this
His radar
garbage.
went off.
And I'm sick of sitting back and watching them go after good people trying to do good things. Look, winning is important.
So it
We
is
need to
about
celebrate our
morality.
wins when we get them. It's what sustains the left. This
And what does good mean? Progressive.
nihilistic garbage of like, no, they're not gonna do anything for us. So we're just gonna attack and we're just gonna be wreckers and we're just gonna complain nonstop and bully and harass people who are doing the work. Look, you don't believe in-
If you can't tell, she's just making this all up and just rant, like making like it looks good rants, if that makes sense. Like this sounds like I mean what I'm saying because I'm not stumbling my words or something and I'm saying it loud. Dude, you know why they're doing what they're doing. You know this.
anything, you don't think that anything good can come of progressive Democrats? Fine, sit your ass at home and shut up. Or sit your ass at home and keep doing your podcast episodes or your YouTube show, who cares? But in the very least, leave people alone as they're trying to accomplish something on behalf of the American people.
Imagine that. Leave them alone. Like who? These elected officials. Imagine that, bro. You mean the ones that are supposed to represent us? And if we don't feel like they're representing us, we're supposed to let them know about it? Well, you can wait, okay, 2 years and vote them out.
These types of wins matter. What Cori Bush
You're
accomplishes,
nihilistic.
what she accomplished with the extension of the eviction moratorium, it matters. Stop
Fuck you too,
discouraging
man.
the left from celebrating
Fuck you
that,
too.
because we need to build on that momentum, not be whiny little crybabies at home while we put our little video content together. It's disgraceful, it's embarrassing. And honestly, at this point, all you can really do is mock them. But I just wanted to be abundantly clear that I don't stand with those people. TYT doesn't stand with those people. And I just wish the left was clear in stating that they don't stand with those people.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks.
Whoa. So, interesting. She did actually say they're good people doing good things. Like morally good. Might make it more spooky. I don't know. Because Kyle did the same thing, didn't he? Said they're good people just making mistakes all over the place. Oops. Oops. There goes Yemen. Oops. Hello, German. Oh, boy. So, fuck, did I get anything out of that? They just did it for fun, really. I was watching it earlier, and I'm just like, oh. I'm talking about TYT. So yeah, for me, what I would walk away with, if you're watching my, like, what I think, that either if you're a content creator or you're someone who tries to argue with people or anything like that, do not leave room for these motherfuckers to, because they will like hop on, like, oh, you spelled the word wrong. Get their fucking claws out and look for that shit. You want to be as, especially in a scenario like that, like the shit Franco is in, like, you want to be as on point as you possibly can. Also, you know what TYT does and all that shit. I mean, the instant defense of politicians for some reason out of nowhere because they have the label of progressive. Also, the kudos for, like, it wasn't just, hey, you know, they did something good, okay? It's like, no, they were actually celebrating. Like, literally. Like, let's play this music, let it party. Someone gave her flowers. Her and Chuck Schumer had a giant hug. Cori Bush, that is. Cori Bush was, like, crying in tears for this accomplishment. All a bunch of things that look super superficial. Just to the naked eye, just looking at it, whoa, that looks fake as fuck. And the context, man, the historical context of what these politicians have done, all different people, all claiming all these things they want to do, and then watching them fold after short amounts of time, from left to right, alleged left and alleged right, right? Because I wouldn't consider Obama and Trump on the left and the right. You guys are just criminals, straight up, bro. Straight up criminals. They don't give a fuck about you. Prove me otherwise. So, yeah. There is one thing I do want to say. It's a bit of a kudos for Anna. I think she can shit talk. I think she can talk some shit, bro. The ideas are horseshit. They're garbage. But if you're tired of this fucker, you know, all in the videos, all come to YellBRo. Nah. All right. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery, to helping victims of Africom, to helping out 2 content creators, DV, aka Redneck Economics, and also Sleepy J, buy him a coffee, and also to Cohen Daly. Got his name. Sorry, dude. If you want to help support someone, I mean, they doubled their donations. Let's be real. They're at $31,000. But you know, if you feel compelled, if the story feels personal to you, please donate.